Hey Instagram, happy Friday. It's the Friday takeaway. Today we're talking about Showcase in the RDS in Dublin. If you've no clue what Showcase is, it is a trade fair for creatives. The biggest in Ireland, as far as I know, one of the biggest anyway. And a lot of the biscuit community, because our main audience is in Ireland, there's a huge number of the biscuit community actually exhibiting at Showcase this year, which is brilliant because what does that mean? It means more people now are getting out with their work. We're able to get out, and all these live events are starting to kick off again, which feels really, really good. So today we're talking about Showcase, not what it is, but how to prepare for it, and what key things, if you're ever thinking of doing a trade show, what key things you should be thinking about. And I'm not going to tell you all this stuff, and I have a few tips as well, but I wanted to bring in somebody that's actually doing Showcase this year, and I believe it's her first Showcase. Siobhan Daly is going to come on now. I'm going to find her in the comments and bring her on, and she's going to talk about, and she's so cool because this girl is, I think, in the middle of painting her set, like to come on, or her stand to come on and talk to us about this. So I'm really grateful that she is taking time out to stop and come on. She's not in the comments yet. She's probably cleaning her hands, but she's on the way in to talk to us about Showcase. So I'd love to know in the comments where, or if you've ever done Showcase, or if you are planning to even get your work together, your line of products, your branding, all that good stuff to actually turn up to a trade fair. Hugely impactful for connecting with retail buyers, if that's where you want to go with your work. If you want to get into retail, and if you want to meet and kind of network in that space, Showcase is an amazing amazing platform to actually get in and do your thing and meet people and make connections to actually sell your stuff in retail. So I'm going to wait till Siobhan comes on there. I'm 2 minutes early, which I'm normally always late, so she's probably going to come in a second. So we're just going to wait for her to come in. I just want to take just a moment just to think about what's happening in the world right now. It's pretty crazy, gang, isn't it? Such barbaric news yesterday as it all kicked off in the Ukraine, and it just is making me very sad to think of how difficult it is for families and people, creatives just like you and me, trying to get through the day and the fear that comes with living in that environment. So yeah, it's not a pleasant thing to think about, but I just want to pause and just to Jeannie, I don't even know, crying won't do any good, but just to think about them and hope to stuff gets resolved very quickly. Okay, Siobhan Daly is here, and I just want to bring her in, and we'll get you in to talk to us about Showcase. I was actually early for the first time, Siobhan. Hey. Hi girl, how's it going? Lovely to see you.
Thanks a million. Thanks for having me on. I'm actually sitting on the floor surrounded by boxes here. I was like, I'm just going to sit here. It's going to be fine here. I'll just do it. It's grand.
Just do it. It's grand. And you've your gorgeous orange earrings. I have your blue ones on, actually.
Yeah, well, I thought, I'm on your brand now. So.
So thank you, firstly, Siobhan. Thanks so much for taking the time, because I know you're in the middle of packing, and tell people why you're packing if they missed the intro to what I was banging on about there.
Okay, so I'm heading for Showcase. So it's Ireland's trade show, kind of only trade show that I really know of. There's a few different ones in Europe, but the Design and Craft Council are kind of the main umbrella organisers. But basically anybody who has any kind of wholesale business can join. So like this mug is from Dunn's. If I was buying them in from the back of Beyonds and selling them on, I could go and take a stand. So there's a design and craft council area, then there's an industries area, and then there's the local enterprise office area, which is actually just deemed the enterprise hall, kind of coming in under Enterprise Ireland as well, and I'm in there. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you've been working quite closely with Leo, haven't you, with getting ready for this show? And it's your first showcase, Siobhan.
It's my first showcase. So I don't know if I have any answers for anybody, but I mean, I'll try.
Yeah, go on.
It's been on my radar for a little while, but then I was mostly kind of occasion stuff. I was mostly like headpieces and neck pieces and stuff, and then with COVID I was working more and more with the leather, and it really quickly, once I got my website up and running, became my best seller, like really quickly. So then I really had my eye on showcase, and then it was digital last year, and I was like, I'm not sure, like it's a relatively new product to market. Let's say March 2020 properly didn't take off until kind of summer 2020. I'm not sure that digital is the way to go for such a tactile product, so I spoke to lots of people about it, but I didn't do it. And then this year, the local enterprise office did a call out saying you can apply. And so Design and Craft Council did a first come, first served. So it's like, anybody who, like, basically if you got in first, you got your stand. Okay. Whereas the local enterprise office did an application form. Now, I was thinking about this earlier. It really was only 2 questions. So it was the standard, like, name, address, and then it was brief description of your business. And the second question was, why do you want to do showcase? So that was the application form, whereas I think there was an application form for the Design and Craft Council as well, but it still was first come, first served. So I actually got both. But the local enterprise office had come back to me first and offered me the stand. So I just took it. And then when the Design and Craft Council came, I was like, oh, sorry,
That's amazing. Well, that's great that you got 2, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that was, the Design and Craft Council call out was the end of September. So for anybody like thinking next year, put that in as a thing to watch out for. End of September was when they did their call out.
And yeah, that's one thing that I wanted to discuss, and it's something that I got asked a lot actually around this topic today, was, when do you start even putting this on your radar for, like, where do you start? Like, is it kind of connecting with your Leo, or is it signing up to newsletters, or how did you start that, Siobhan?
No, like for a brand new business, I'd be saying price for wholesale. And I know you always say that because when the big guns come knocking on your door and you're like, I actually can't supply you Avoca or Kilkenny Group or Arnett, or whatever. But I think if you've started off pricing for wholesale, you're in a really good position then at any point to consider showcase, It's when, like, I don't think I ever could have gone to showcase with some of my other stuff. Like, they're so labor intensive that I just don't think I ever could have gone with them. Markup and my margin there is so small, really. There's no room to give anybody else anything. So, like, I think, it depends. Some products are made for showcase or for wholesale, and some just aren't. And that's kind of, but then I think if there's something you can do, like if an artist is saying, I could never sell this at wholesale, but then you could do the print version, or, there's room there.
Yeah. And there's always room, I think, isn't there, Siobhan? And sometimes it's when shit hits the fan, like a pandemic, that pushes us to think, I have to react to this. What else can I do? Because no one's buying these, mostly kind of occasion wear products. What can I do with what I have to actually create a new line, which opens up a new possibility of, I can bang out a load of these equals, I can fulfill a big order in less than 2 years, like of the other stuff.
Yeah, because I ended up with a mentor from the local enterprise office, and he said to me, but why? Like, he really probed me on why. And I was kind of 5 hours of making a wholesale order is actually more lucrative than 5 hours of making a hat. Like a hat gets blocked and wired and stiffened, and you know, there's so much more. There's so much to a headpiece that, like, it's just such a better use of my time. It really is. Yeah.
So that's a question to ask yourself. If you're, you know, will I, won't I even consider this or go down that route? Can you actually fulfill big orders without, you know, breaking your body, like, or, you know, spending years? It doesn't make sense with your time. Like, you know, it's a time thing, isn't it? And a fulfillment thing to question first. So if you, so say if someone's like, okay, cool, I can do that. Like I can, you know, I definitely could take, you know, orders in for large amounts. I could fulfill, especially painters with prints, right? You can just run prints, couldn't you, so easily? What would be the next step? Like, would you think?
Okay, so if you figured out that you can, then you need to go and figure out your pricing, because like, you know, you need to make sure that there's basically, like, I have no problem saying it, and it's known in the wholesale world that what you sell it for, you know, they're getting more than you are. You know, that's the way it is. Like, they're going to get more of the money than you are for actually making it. So you need to make sure that you really know your pricing. Like, you know, there's like, only yesterday I had a phone call with she's actually going to be in the stand next to me, and she was saying, I just want to go back and look over my pricing again, because like, that's your worst nightmare, that you get this and you're delighted to have it, and then the next thing, like, you're going, oh crap, I'm making €1 thing or whatever. So I think once you figure out you can do it, you also need to figure out then minimum order quantities and lead time. So that's, you know, like, that's a tricky one as well, because it needs to be worth your while. But then it needs to not be so big that the shop is going to go, what? That's massive. I can't give you that much, like, in one order. So there's this kind of a fine balance that you're kind of saying, well, how much money can I ask the shop as a minimum order quantity, so that they are happy to take that order off me, and I'm happy that it's not just kind of fiddly and small, you know.
Would there be an industry kind of standard then for, say, jewelry, like your stuff? No, or would it depend?
No, it depends. So, like, I know that for cards and prints, it kind of tends to be around €150 as minimum order quantity initially. So I hadn't a lot of this work done. So I have 10 stockists currently that I just hustled for and got. Somebody introduced me to somebody, and I went after them, and you know, I knocked on doors and said, I think my stuff would be a good fit for you. So I have 10, but like, initially I was going, it's 20 pieces, or it's 30 pieces, or it's 40 pieces. I was going by pieces. But then I realized, like, you know, sometimes my item is retailing for 30, and sometimes it's retailing for 22 and less. So through this process now, it's a euro value. So I know that it's, you know, I can say, well, it's this much. So, and then there's also a minimum reorder value. So now, to be honest, like, if buyers are watching this, they'll be like, oh, but I think I won't be that strict on that, because I mean, if somebody wants a top up because the red is gone, you know, I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, I'll stick more red in the post, right? You know, like, I suppose it's that you're not going to have all these really fiddly small orders constantly, you know.
Would you put that kind of in your terms and conditions around your you know, the thing that you're presenting to them, like, I'm able to do this reorder with this condition of, you know.
So I think, like, my terms and conditions, I've seen other people's, and they're, you know, a page or two. Mine is like 7 lines.
Lovely.
Like, let us know if there's an error in your order within 1 week. It says the minimum order quantity and the minimum reorder quantity. It says that there may be display pieces provided, but they will remain the property of Siobhan Daly Designs. Meaning, if they don't reorder, I'm going to knock on your door and say, sorry, can I have my display back, please?
I want the display back. But that's the great one, because people mightn't think of that. So if you're doing showcase and you haven't terms and conditions, make sure you've terms and conditions in your wholesale thingy. What is it called, Siobhan? That thing that you the line sheet. Would it be on the line sheet?
Yeah, it's actually on my price list. I stuck it in on my price list rather than on my line sheet. But
Okay.
yeah, so it's 7 lines.
Yeah.
It says I'm not VAT registered. VAT is not included. Like but that was a question that
Yeah.
Jessie had.
Yeah.
And basically, like, it's just straightforward. No, there's no VAT. End of story. I'm under the threshold, and you just keep that
Keep
question.
it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's no point in saying anything else, because then
Yeah.
it gets complicated. And when it comes to that, and you have to charge the VAT, you just say, "I'm now charging VAT. Thanks very much."
Yeah, exactly. And that's just, and I think as well, when you're doing a show like this as well, you're dealing with business people that are used to this. So it's not like you're selling to somebody going, what you mean? Like a one person that hasn't a clue about the way VAT works, or, they know, they're in business themselves. Like, so they're used to it. So it's kind of getting comfortable as an exhibitor, isn't it? To be able to say, actually, no, and that's okay.
Yeah. And the other thing then I have in my terms and conditions is that postage may be included depending on the order quantity. So
Okay.
I kind of left it loose, because if you say it's included and then they're like, oh, I'm putting in an order and it's only really small, and suddenly your box is, your box might be big and cumbersome even though the order is small itself. And then the post office lady is like, €13, please. And you're going, oh my God, that's eating in.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
That's another thing. That's amazing. Stand wise, so line sheet pricing is paramount, because you don't want to be a busy fool. And I think as well, the correct pricing will also attract the correct buyer as well to you. So pricing is really important. Your line sheet is super important, isn't it, Siobhan? Did you spend a lot of time on that?
Yeah, I did, because I didn't have codes for some of my colors. So, like, I have a couple of shades of blue. So even just putting in the codes so that it's really easy to reorder, so that I'm not going, is that the sky blue, or is that the lagoon blue? Or because they're kind of similar, but one is more of an aqua and the other one is more of a baby blue, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, so they'll definitely want the line sheet. And then terms and conditions and pricing, and then fulfillment, like, can you actually fulfill this order, and lead time. So this is normally at the end of January, but they moved it back with COVID 5 weeks till now. We were kind of surveyed on that to know would we be willing to do it and whatever, and they made that move. And normally end of January showcase, they want the stuff by Patrick's Day. But end of February showcase, apparently they're still going to want the stuff by showcase. So there isn't the wiggle room that they're like, you would have had a 6-week lead time, but apparently they're still going to want
for Patrick's Day. Okay, for Patrick's Day. Okay, that's good to know going in, isn't it? Like, not to, because that could defer a sale if you're going, oh no. If you know that going, I'll just make it happen. Get all your family and friends around, like, to make it work. Okay, that's really great information, actually, to know that. So stand wise then, so you have your line sheet, your pricing's nailed, you're feeling good, like, your stand wise, what would you advise, or what like, are you going to give us a sneak peek of what you're doing, or what do we expect?
No problem. So the reason I actually got onto, so with the local enterprise office, you had to do training with them. So there was a 1-hour information session. So it was like, this is the price of the stand. If you're going to want light and electricity, well, which I did, this is going to be more. If you're going to paint it yourself, you need to let us know. If you're going to get somebody in to paint it, you need to let us know. You need to have insurance, and and they gave us all this information in 1 hour. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And then we had a 3-hour session with a guy called Francis Verling, who is actually Loud and was on the Meath local enterprise office panel. And so I got onto the local enterprise, and I was like, I need some help, and if Francis could help me, I'd really like that, please. Granted it, thankfully. But basically, the way we spent about maybe 2 hours looking at other people's, and it's funny, it's not that the amazing stands stand out. It's that the ones are not what you want to do stand out. And it's not that it's not that they're bad, like there's no bad stands. They're all very professional. But like some of them had a really busy wall, really busy, and I was like, I definitely don't want that.
Okay.
The key things that I could see, and especially like he had a lot of photographs, and he was able to share his screen, and we could go through, and he was like, "Watch like this, much like this, much like this."
Yeah.
And so he was able to show me even 4 or 5 together.
Yeah.
And you could see which stand was really eye catching when there was loads of them, because they all look lovely on their own.
Yeah. That's a good point.
2 meter by 2 meter, and you're just looking in, honing in on one, they're lovely. But then when you see them in a row, and it's like, oh, that's a really good stand,
And what were the features of the really good stand? Would it be simplicity or color?
Yeah, it was simpler. It was basically like that for every wall kind of sold for you. There was something to sell on it. So I'm only kind of using 2 walls to sell, but that's because, so my stand has 2 sides. Some stands will be like this,
Yeah. In the corner.
They'll only have 2 walls, and this open. Whereas I'm like this, so there's 3 walls.
Yeah.
So I don't have any traffic that will walk up towards me.
Okay.
So I will have traffic coming from the left or right. So I have stuff on both of those walls.
Gotcha.
You need to really think about the flow of traffic and the way people are going to come, what side they're going to come from. So like even little things like having your logo on, another wall other than the main wall. If that, it's not for me where my stand is, but some of the stands did have that. It was really just simplicity. Yeah, it was. It was really clear, cohesive. Like some people just had, everything was grey. Their sign was kind of lit up, and then the product, and that was it. Like,
that was it.
Had nothing in the stand at all except for stuff on the walls, which meant they were really making the space feel big, and they were really good. I haven't gone for that now. I've gone for a white table, really narrow, like having somebody with you. So 2 meters by 2 meters is actually tiny. 2 meters, we were told to stand away from people when COVID first hit, so it's like, it's not huge.
Yeah.
So when I decided the layout I was going for, I needed to go and get these white tables. So again, Francis pointed out that like an awful lot of shops will have a white background so that the product is the thing. So he showed me loads of shops. He was like, look, this is where they're going to be. This is where your product is going to end up. So you want to mimic that. You don't want them to come in and go, oh, this is lovely against the navy, but sure, my shop is white. You want them to feel that they can visualize it in their shop. So yeah, I went about getting these tables, and my husband came with me, and they were on sale in Woodies. So there were 2. So I loved the one I didn't end up buying, and he was like, this is too big. This table is too big. You have 2 meters. And I was like, yeah, but I really like this one. Like, it was a much nicer quality, and it was €15 more, so it wasn't much more. And he was like, you can't buy this table.
But I want it.
Yeah, and he was like, you can't. He was like, it's 60 centimeters deep. So that's 60 centimeters. I needed 60 centimeters on one side and 60 centimeters on the other. So now I'm at 1.2 meters. So there's like 80 centimeters for somebody to you can't have this table. Yeah. He's like, skinny people only. You can't have this table. You just can't. And I was like, it really, if I had been on my own, I would have bought the other table. Yeah. Thank God that he was like, no, it's too big for the space. So I've ended up with like a 40 centimeter table. So that's 80 centimeters in total coming out, and there's still 1.2 meters. So it's fine.
It's fine.
It was like, I kept coming back to it. It was so much nicer. And he just was like, no, you cannot have it in wood. So,
is he proud?
Yeah, I walked away.
Tantrum on the ground. I want my table.
Yeah, you're wrong, but I know you're right. Yeah,
you're still
somebody. Yeah, you're still wrong. Yeah, but I bought the other table. somebody to say to you, no, that's too big for that space, you know. And I also looked at, because my grandmother taught me to sew, I kind of wanted a nod to, you know, that and the past and vintage and everything. And I looked at kind of a writing bureau. But like, again, he was like, that's too big. You can't have that. That's absolutely massive, you know. So
Yeah.
thankfully, it was like a voice of reason going, no, rein yourself in. It's going to be really small. Actually, a really good thing. Well, people can just go to Showcase, but I went to Gifted at Christmas.
Oh yeah, I've been to Gifted. It's amazing.
Fabulous. But to get stand ideas and also to see the stand, to actually see 2 meters by 2 meters, like I was like, oh my God. And some people had 2 meters by 2 meters and they had a big long table in front of it and that was it. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely not doing that. Like, you know, straight away I was like, I don't know what I'll end up with, but I'm not doing that. Like the stand at the table at the front kind of thing. It's just,
and you want people coming in, don't you? Like to browse almost rather than stopping at the front of your stand, right?
Yeah, you want them to feel like there's enough space to come in, you know?
Yeah. And is there any tips? I know we're running out of time now because you're so busy painting stuff and packing and everything, but is there any tips that the mentor has given you from actually the delivery or even sales kind of conversations? Have you done any of that kind of work, or is it mostly just
Not
set up?
the only thing, no, we did, in fairness. Like, I suppose I feel maybe my minimum order quantity might be a smidge high, and you know, I'm saying, should I consider reducing that if they push me, like, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, no. He was really strong. He was like, absolutely not. If they can't shell out that much, which isn't huge, like, you know, I mean, it's not €1,000 or anything like that, but he was like, you don't want your product in that shop. This is a two-way thing here as well. You know, he was like, you know, your product is lovely. It's really wearable. It's a really good price point. It will sell. You're selling it, and your current stockists are selling it. He was like, you know, be firm with them here and say no. We also looked at things like, you know, I was told to expect that the buyers will be saying, you know, can you do better price? And he was. He said your costing is really solid. Do not go there. And he said what you could look at doing and do the figures on is maybe if they, you know, go over a certain amount, you'll throw in 2 free or this kind of. They're still getting they'll get the full quantity, the full amount of that. Like, you know, if they're these, they'll get two €30 earrings, so they'll get €60 free. But he said, do not discount. You know, do not. You know, but that's only coming from when you know your numbers as well. Like,
and having confidence in the numbers as well, and knowing I cannot do this, but and he's right too, of having that thing that you can play with. It doesn't affect the solid price point, but it's something that you can almost gift as a thing to close the sale.
Absolutely. And he, like, in some cases, he said some businesses would do postage, but like, I have the Advantage card with the post office. That's €6.50 up to 2 kgs or something. So my stuff might be cumbersome, but it's really light. So I can include that, like, you know,
as a selling point.
Yeah, for somebody who can't, that could be the thing that they add on as the extra.
It's almost that upsell but it's a gift. I love that, and I think that it's really important to reiterate the preparation on not just the stand, not just it's the numbers, and it's the sales conversations. It's things like that you know, it's confidence. If and when they say, okay, let's talk about money, usually you go, here, have it for free. Just take it.
Yeah.
I know, I can't believe it'll be in your shop. I'm so happy here. You know, to have that conversation already mapped out in your head. If that and when that happens, these are my touch points. No to this, but yes to this. No to this, but I can do this, right? And it's practicing that.
The biggest thing was, like, whatever they ask you, your answer should be, it depends. And then that gives you, like, a little bit, to kind of figure it out and to say, you know, so like he said, maybe they might ask for exclusivity within a certain radius. So then you're kind of saying, well, it depends, because if you're only going to hit my minimum order quantity, I can't give you that because the shop down the road might order double. And like, you know, Whereas if they're gonna triple your minimum order quantity, well then yeah, I'm
You
happy
can
enough,
talk.
kind of thing. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So there's always wiggle room, but it's very solid to your almost framework of what you're able to do with for your business, going back again to numbers. So that's really the very, very foundation of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is I was granted 9 hours with him, and only the second last session. So it was in kind of 1.5 to 2 hour blocks, and only the second last session did we discuss what the stand would look like.
Yeah. And I feel like, Siobhan, that most people go straight to stand and to spend all the time doing stand, because it's the fun thing and it's the creative thing, isn't it? It's what we want to do. But
Yeah.
actually, it's the line sheet, it's the selling, it's how I'm going to convert this. Because it's a big investment too, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, so with the local enterprise office, it's €750. It was similar, but maybe more with the Design and Craft Council, but it was similar. But like, to be honest, Tara, I mean, that's the start. If you don't have insurance, you can go and get your insurance. That's like 200 quid or so. I thankfully had that already.
Yeah.
If you want extra lights and a plug, which like I'd like to be able to plug in my phone or whatever, that cost me €221.
What? To have a
Plug
of
and
electricity?
yeah, plug and lights. Yeah. Now that would be standard. Like I did Bloom in 2019, and again, you pay for your stand, and then they email you being like, "Would you like lights and a plug?" And it's yeah. Now you could have just got the plug. There are some lights, but I don't know how bright or dark it's going to be. My stuff is under light as well, so I just
Yeah.
spend it and I
Yeah,
learned.
exactly.
Like yeah, the tables, well, they weren't particularly expensive. I'm going to put down a floor. We'll see how that goes. Jack of all trades at this stage, master. Um, but just that the floor that we're going to get is like a really royal blue, really blue, and where
Like
for
this?
it is, but that's not my yeah, it is, but that's not my brand at all. Mine is like grey and pink and white. So I just was like, right. So I got a grey carpet. Now I will have a lot of the things that I've spent money on. I will have, but I think that's a very big thing. If someone is thinking about Showcase and has priced it at €750, like
Okay.
that's the beginning. I haven't added up what I have spent. I probably haven't spent the same again, but I know some people have. Like some people have gotten wooden signs, beautiful wooden signs that they can remove. I've just gotten a decal as a sign, and that's perfect for this time. And I'll add to it. They say, Tara, that you need to have you need to give it a 3-year chance.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll go this year and see how we get on. And
That's the first investment, Siobhan, isn't it? Like of just getting all the bits together and then having them.
Yeah, I'll have them as well. And like I was told as well not to take it as just the 4 days, that things come afterwards. And, you might be in somebody's mind and they might say, actually, that'll be a nice Christmas product. And then suddenly they're in touch in September. So you don't know, like based on just the 4 days, it's not in isolation. Like you have to give it time as well and see what happens. Yeah.
Definitely. And it's the same for Art Source. I see it all the time. People go to Art Source, which is quite similar, and they set up and then it's like 6 months later they get a sale from Art Source, so it's it's an exposure thing. It's getting in front of a buying audience. It's so powerful. I'm so excited. For you, I can't wait to go in and see all the stands. I'll be like, oh. If there was one retailer you would love to nail, who would it be?
Do you know what? I actually don't know. I actually don't know, because I know the ones that I've gotten, like it's a long game as well. I'm not really expecting, Tara, that someone is going to walk up, say, I'm going to take that straight away and we don't have a conversation about it. I just love it, end of story. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll be me probably drooling over them because I'm like, oh, I love your shop so much.
Yeah.
But I know it's a long game. Like, like even currently people that I'm in talks with, I've sent the price list and some pictures and the line sheet. And then they're like, oh yeah, I love it. And then they don't come back. And then I'm saying, have you had a chance to look at it? And then they're saying, oh, I must do that. Sorry. And it's all this back and forth. And then, weeks and weeks have passed. And then I'm going, just follow them back in. And they're saying, oh, could you send that on again? I don't know where it's gone. So it's persistence,
It is. It is.
Like I was told a really good showcase on the first year is to get 5 new stockists. If you can get 5 new stockists on your first year, that's a really good showcase. So
that's a good benchmark so for you, Siobhan.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh my God. I'm so excited for you. And I know that you're really busy moving because it's in 2 days, like, isn't it, Jeannie Mac? I'd love you to come back and tell us how you got on and what will you come back and just brief us on it?
Yes, I will.
I think that would be really helpful, and I'm dying to know how it all goes. You'll nail it though, and like the Art Source crew, it's being consistent with it, and it's the follow up afterwards, isn't it, Siobhan? It's making sure you have follow up afterwards and just networking and enjoying it.
100%. If nothing else, like just even to meet fellow creatives that are in the same space, doing their thing, trying to get out there, growing their following, all the things that everybody is trying to do. But I think, Tara, if anybody is ever considering going, I think register and go. And if you're trade, you can go. You don't have to be a buyer, so you could log in and register and go to it. I really think if someone is like, oh, I would be interested in that, even if it's like 2 years or 3 years down the line, I think register and go and get a feel for it, get a feel for the stands, see your competitors and see what are they doing, their displays,
And it's good to see as well, just from a research perspective, what people are actually selling, what people are what's trending, where are the crowds? Like, I always think that, like when I was in the food business, I was always paying attention to the stands or the brands that were getting a lot of attention at these exhibits, and that gives you insight into, okay, this is what people want for their shops for the next 6 months, like, and they're ahead of the market all the time. They know what's happening trend wise, so it's important to pay attention to that stuff as well. It's a good one.
I know, like, I suppose there'll be lots of kind of standing around and waiting and kind of killing time, so that's when you get to meet people and even just to say, like, how is your floor staying down? Mine is lifting. And they're saying, oh, it's rug tape. And you're like, okay, husband, please get me rug tape. It's valuable.
On speed dial.
Rug tape, SOS.
You should have little walkie-talkies.
Yeah, Woody's rug tape, go. Yeah.
Roller skates. Oh, Breed says, super excited, just getting in the car now to go up and paint, and looking forward to meeting Siobhan and other Bickies too. Oh, amazing. You'll have so much fun together as well. It's a real kind of community thing, and there, there's so many Bickies there as well. You're going to have such a laugh, like, all of you. I can't wait to come in and meet you all as well. Oh, it'll be great. Siobhan, thank you so much. You're a star bar, and good luck with all the building and painting and deep breaths, and you'll be amazing. So well done, and in advance, and good luck hitting that 5. That's a good goal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Whether it'll happen or not, I mean, it's learning no matter what. I'm going with an open mind, and I know what it's like at, say, the likes of Bloom, to stand there nearly all day long and not get huge amount of traction. I know what that's like, have to pick yourself up, but it's long game stuff as well. So I'm hopeful to put that out to the universe there and see what comes back. So thanks for having me on. I hope that there was something of value to somebody in there.
Oh, definitely. Everyone's rooting for you.
Yeah, thanks a million, Tara.
Okay, Siobhan, lovely to see you, and I'll see you inside the RDS at some point over the next few days in there. Okay, mind yourself. Good luck, girl. Good luck. Bye. Thanks, gang. I'll see you next Friday on the Friday Takeaway. Have a great weekend. Mind yourselves and do something really nice for yourself. Okay, keep creative. Talk to you next week. Bye.